What's up, gamers? Big Steve OG here. You probably noticed or not that the videos on my channel are gone. That's for good reason. I wanted to, since I will have more time in the future, to change the direction of this channel. I want to go back to the roots of why I started making videos. Not Ticket to Ride videos, not gaming videos, but commentary and life stories. I believe this video will be a good foot forward. So, without further taking up your time, here is my journey through faith. From an early age, religion was not talked about much in my household. I had an uncle who was Lutheran, but he never talked about it because I was just a stupid kid, you know. The only mention of God that was ever in the household was using his name in vain, quite frankly. The only time we'd gone to church was only to attend family events that took place in them, like a wedding, my cousin's baptism. That's the only time. The only memory I have of praying to God as a kid was disrespectful, to say the least. I don't want to repeat word for word what I said, but to break it down, I essentially demanded God to bring the fictional into reality under threat, and I'm ashamed of doing that. This is my most cringe time, hopefully never to be topped. I can't recall the exact age, but I started getting into atheism. All I remember is by the age of 15 I was fully engulfed into atheism. I had all the dumb arguments they still use today memorized. I'm surprised they still use these arguments today because they are just as bad as they were a decade ago. I remember debating with my uncle using these bad arguments. You know the arguments. If God good, why bad things happen? The mixed fabrics argument. If God real, why doesn't he show me? The classic arguments that scream, I never read the Bible. And I also, I recall blaspheming God as a joke, which, again, was another stupid thing I did as a kid. This has to be the worst part of my life. I give myself to slavery and sin near constantly. I began to socially isolate from family, and every winter break I would disappear socially. I was very nihilistic. I thought I was so smart because I didn't have faith in God. Looking back, I think I could say definitively that I was really stupid. Getting into my later teens, I very much softened on my super duper atheism. I was very still an atheist, but stopped believing people were stupid for having faith. I began to realize more that if there was no God, why does it matter if someone believes that there is one? There was also a shift in my tone. I went from a superiority complex to very apathetic in my tone. I would debate and discuss, but stopped caring about pushing it on everyone because I thought I was so smart. When I got a job, I just stopped talking about it unless people brought it up with me. I am currently 23 years old, and the story is pretty much going to conclude after here because I can't talk about future events. But yeah, sometime between the age of 19 and 20, in that time frame of late 19, early in my 20, I wanted to learn more about Christianity because I've dismissed it all my life without ever learning about it. So I picked up a Greek Orthodox New Testament because I was new to it all. I saw there were many different Catholic translations, and because my friend said it was the Christian denomination he liked the most. So I figured I'd read, self-educate myself on Christianity. I kind of figured out early on that it had to either be the Catholic or Eastern Orthodox Church because any church that broke away or did not accept the Council of Nicaea had to not be it. And it couldn't be the Protestant churches because they broke away from the Catholic Church. And the whole quote unquote Reformation broke into 1,000 different churches. But after I received my Eastern Orthodox New Testament, I began to read it almost every day. For added context for later in the story, I will have to bring in a timeline. I started reading some months after both my dogs had passed away. I began reading in the winter of 22, 23. I can't remember exactly. It was January, December-ish, you know. Um, I lost my eldest dog when he was 14 and my youngest dog when she was 12. I lost both of them when I was 20 and 21 respectively, because they passed in between when my birthday was. My dog, my oldest dog, April 1st, and my youngest dog, May 15th. In that 5 week separation, I lost them. So I remember it was around August, early September of 23 when I got to John that I really started to believe that it could be true. But in that late September, that is when my cat had passed away at the age of 18, and all three of my pets had to be euthanized because of severe irreversible conditions. And I just remember my heart breaking, like an actual shatter where my heart used to be. And when I got in the car, I was just remember thinking, how could a God be this cruel, And I was heartbroken, and I took it out on God. I stopped reading after that. I stopped any self-education, but that's not the end of my failures, because why would it? I felt alone. I started self-isolating. I went to work, just doing the motions, went home feeling numb. And when I eventually rejoined talking to people, my friends got into VR chat. I feel shame for admitting this section, but I think it's important to say I was really alone after not having my pets, especially my cat, because she cuddle up with me when I went to bed. So I really threw myself into positive attention. Unfortunately, I started acting in homosexual manners unbefitting of a man. I didn't do anything physical with another man. I wasn't even attracted to them sexually. I just missed that feeling of being loved, and I missed it, and I threw myself into the first option that came along. Thankfully, I was saved from it all. It was a night in January of 24. I think it was around mid-January. I woke up in the middle of the night, and I saw this smog-like creature, darker than dark, that was just standing in front of my door. I suffer from night terrors all my life, from infancy till today, but a true sense of terror came over me. I covered my head with my blanket, and for the first time, I genuinely prayed to God. I was just repeating, God, please save me, over and over. But soon after I started praying, this sense of ease came over me. I lifted my head from the blanket. The smog-like creature was still there by my door, and but this ball of light came through my ceiling to my left, and this ball shined so bright that everything went white. And when the white light faded, the smog-like creature and the ball of light was gone, and I felt at peace. And I fell asleep as soon as my head hit the pillow. From there, I began to read again. I began to learn more if the Catholic or Orthodox Church was true. I have a habit of not jumping into action without first having all the details. Um, Both a blessing and a curse. But it took me a little over a year. But I started attending Catholic Mass the first Sunday of April this year. And I just finished the 8th week of OCIA. I can say everything's been a blessing so far. Everyone I've ever met at my parish has been so nice. Everyone's been so helpful, helping me through my journey and leading me to God. I've never been so grateful in my life. I love it. It's true. God is real. I love you all. God bless.